So why do we start with negotiations related to your mindset? Can anybody take a guess as why I start with your mindset? Yes, you believe there's a possibility of a different outcome, but what does your mindset do? If I'm walking into a meeting with my boss, for example, or the project team, and I go in thinking, I have no power, I have no control, I have no fill in the blank. If I walk into that meeting feeling like I'm already defeated, my mindset is already defeated, then you're going to come out defeated. You cannot overcome a mindset that's already given in. And here's why that happens, because situations happen all day long around us. We cannot control. Deadlines change, clients get angry, new projects come in, situations are happening around you, and you have no control over those situations, right? But what you do have control over is your response. And your response, what you do in response to these situations, is going to change the outcome. Now, responses that we want to control when things go wrong, right? So who can give me an example of a situation where things go wrong? Can you think of a situation where you have walked into, you know you're going to have to negotiate a deadline or something with your boss or something with your project team or maybe people who report to you? What are the kinds of things that can go wrong? Someone isn't available that was supposed to be there, maybe they couldn't come to the meeting, or maybe you've had that resource taken away from you. Like, we're halfway through this project and suddenly you're telling me that this resource isn't available anymore. How am I going to negotiate that? Right, strategic decisions are made that don't align with what your objectives are. And suddenly you have to shift directions, you have to either renegotiate or accept. Are you just going to give in, or are there other things that you can do to help close that gap? Those are good examples. So what happens when we're in that situation and we get emotionally triggered? Whoa, sorry. I'm out of control with the mic here. Can you guys hear me okay? Okay, so what happens when we get emotionally triggered and we go into one of these three spaces: fight, flight, or freeze? So let me give you an example from my own experience, okay? So I was in a vice president role in my last corporate job, and I had to make a presentation to all the other vice presidents to say, here's the state of my business, and we were each doing a SWOT analysis for the next year. Okay, so I'm standing up and I'm in a division that's actually not doing very well. Everybody else is growing and my division is not doing well. And I'm giving them my SWOT analysis, and what I hear in response from my other team members is, that's not true, Melissa. That's not reality, because it wasn't reality for them. Now, in that moment, I'm emotionally triggered because I'm like, what do you mean it's not true? It's true for me. I'm showing you the numbers. Don't argue with me. And that's me going into fight mode, where I respond in a way where later I go, why did I say that? Why did I do that? I got angry. I got defensive. The other emotional response is flight. And that's where I'm standing up in front of my peers. I'm making my presentation. They're knowing me. And I just cross my arms and stand back and let them kind of fight it out amongst themselves, because I don't really know what to say. Or sometimes maybe it's freeze mode, where I'm like a deer in the headlights. And I'm literally frozen in place because I'm so surprised. How can you argue with my numbers? How can you tell me that I'm wrong? I'm so surprised by this response that I don't know what to say. Can anybody relate to these examples? Like, this is the moment in negotiations. You can read all the negotiation books and watch all the negotiation videos. This is the moment where it all falls apart, where I say the wrong thing, I do the wrong thing, and I regret it. And then later, I'm lying in bed, it's 3 o'clock in the morning, and I keep replaying that moment over and over and over and over and over and over in my head, saying, I wish I would have done something different. So here's something that you can do that's different. Instead of responding in this way, I'm going to skip that because I already talked about it. Instead of responding in a triggered way, you're going to stop, drop, and roll. Does anybody remember Smokey the Bear? Okay, so I love stop, drop, and roll because in this moment, I am on fire, right? Like, my emotions, my body's hot, I'm on fire. I need to stop, drop, and roll to put out the fire, essentially. Stop. You're going to start with stop, which is your physical response. You're going to actually focus on stopping your physical response. Now, my physical response in that moment is that my stomach gets all like churny and full of butterflies, and sometimes it's like a nervous feeling in my stomach, and sometimes I feel like I'm going to throw up. It's an unhappy place. Sometimes people's face gets red, you flush, or you sweat, or your hands get sweaty. Anybody relate to any of these? Yes, I see heads. For those of you on the phone, heads are shaking, hands are raising. Yes. And you can feel that physical response, which is a good thing. Okay, it's your body's way of saying, alert, alarm, something's going wrong here. And that's your moment where you can stop it. Now, there's a lot of science behind this. And in fact, there's a new book relatively new book that came out by Mel Robbins called The 5-Second Rule. Has anybody heard of this book? Okay, I love that book and I love her. Look up her TED Talk. She is freaking hilarious. And all the science shows that you can count backwards from 5 to stop that physical response. Now, she uses this for a lot of different things, like taking steps outside your comfort zone. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm going to do it even though I'm scared. But you can use it to stop your physical response here. And when you take a deep breath to calm yourself down, it sends oxygen back into your body so that you can stop that physical reaction. After that, you're going to drop what you typically say and do. So I typically go into flight mode. Once you know that you do that, you can start to change it. And then finally, you're going to roll with intention towards something else. Now, this is baby steps, and it takes a lot of practice to do this. But let's say the first thing I'm going to talk to you guys about is rolling with intention toward being clear. The second thing I'm going to talk to you about is being curious. So when you're rolling with intention toward a different response, it takes practice.